probably closer because it's directional. So pártatelo. There you go. Drinking water. Henry always gets me at the most inconvenient moments. Hi everyone, thank you for joining us with Success Without Borders today. Today, the last day of the month. Today, we have our guest, Martin. Martin, what's your last name?
Vasquez.
Vasquez? Oh,
yes.
Yeah. I spaced that out right now. Martin Vasquez here with Excel Financial Group.
Correct.
At least I got the company right.
I know, right?
That's a plus.
Well, we've known each other for a while, so
it's Martin.
It's Martin.
Yeah, it's Martin. See, I don't need the last name. Martin, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll go into. We start the show with some gratitude,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna let you start with gratitude.
With gratitude. I'm glad for my clients. We're closing today. They're excited. They're investors. I do love my clients. I always help them to do what help with their real estate goals. Glad to have my sisters. Glad to have because they're always funny and always keep me on my toes. And I'm glad for my nieces and nephews. They invite me to stuff, even though I'm kind of older.
Okay.
So.
Well, tell us a little bit about what you do, Martin.
I'm a mortgage broker, so I work with about 50 different lenders that we've had in our wheelhouse. We of course work with investors, first-time home buyers, anyone who purchased a house, refinancing a house, hope they want to pay off any kind of loans. We just look for strategies for homeowners and future homeowners.
Perfect. Well, let me give my gratitudes before we go on. I want to say thank you for KUHS for giving us this space to host our program, Success Without Borders. And I am grateful to have my parents alive today, right? That I could enjoy them, talk to them, my kids' health, my health, and this beautiful day we're having today.
It's awesome.
You were out there a little later than I was. How is it right now?
Oh, it's gorgeous right now. It's not hot. It's not cold.
It's perfect.
Last year I believe it was really cold.
Yeah.
I was doing an event and I remember I was looking at my phone, and you know, like when you have like iPhones and they remember your pictures. It was snowing like last year, I believe.
Wow.
At this time. So to be out here with the sun out, 70 degrees, perfect weather, I'm grateful for that.
Perfect. It is beautiful out here for everyone listening to us around the world. We have people from around the world listening to us.
Nice, awesome.
We have about 6,000 people.
Let's not put more pressure on me. I've never done this before.
So today the topic is we stop moving forward when we blame others and seek external validation. Today, here at Success Without Borders, we break the barriers and build bridges towards growth, leadership, and purpose. We're diving into this topic that touches all of us, right? The blame and the external validation. Why do we blame others? Why do you think we blame others, Martin?
Why do we blame? We just can't cope with being wrong.
Okay.
We can't. It just seems like people just don't want to seem like they're wrong. At the same time, it's like ego. You just, sometimes in my profession or even being a real estate agent, people just don't want to seem to be wrong to their clients because they feel like their clients is going to not validate them, not make them seem like they're higher than what they are. So sometimes, I believe it's a lot of ego driven.
Okay. But yeah, I would say it's because it feels easier, right? And you just touched on the other one. Why do we look for external validation? And it's because it feels safer, right?
Oh, definitely.
It feels safer for our clients and for our friends, for our partners to validate that.
Mm-hmm.
tell us, tell me a little bit about your story and how you've seen blame and external validation play a role in your personal and your professional life.
Well, first of all, me myself, I don't think I am bigger than anyone else. I think everyone's always on the same plane. Um, so if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If and I will do my best to point it out as soon as possible. Because if not, then things just build. It's a snowball effect sometimes. So I guess I did tell a story, or I did say I did have a story. So um, I did blame myself. I did it. I was totally wrong. So I sent out an email instructing people to go to this event. It was a networking event, and the Hispanic Chamber was hosting that event. I was getting my business people to that event. I sent out an email. I put in the wrong address.
Who did
There
you
was,
blame? Did you blame someone at
I
first?
did not blame anyone. I had to blame myself. But this is the thing. So when I got to the event, a lot of people were there, a lot of people that I knew. A couple people had gone to the address that I had put on my email by accident. I'm not sure where I got it from. It was at a house. So I had people ended up at a house. It was kind of weird. Well, I hope that homeowner was not freaking out or anything, or any of my clients freaking out. So, we all ended up, I knew where the place was, I knew where the event was, I ended up there. So one of my other persons had said, hey, you gave me the wrong address. I went to this house. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I apologize. I even double checked because I'm like, let me check if I really did that. So I checked and I did. I did put in the wrong address. I blame myself. And I said, I do apologize. I'm sorry you went to some stranger's house. I hope you didn't freak out. I hope you didn't freak out. And then other people said the same thing. Um, the thing that kind of like struck me a little bit was then after I said I do apologize was I am the other person looked at me and said, hey, I am glad you apologize. I'm glad you admitted the wrong because most people will not say I did something wrong. Most people will not say, hey, I screwed up and apologize. Because if you would have said, I did not screw up or double check or anything, I would have lost total respect for you. So it's like, yeah, just if I didn't say sorry or if I didn't recognize that I did something wrong, they would have gone back and they would have said, hey, here's the email, you screwed up. Maybe the next day, yeah, have a couple people, and I apologize a couple times that day for that same thing. So, yeah, so my screw up. And then sometimes even in lending, maybe we just miss something, and then you just have to just own it and then move forward because we have deadlines. We gotta get closings done. And I'm sure with your experience, you've done the same thing.
Yes, yes, yes. I had a real fun one where they're like, America, don't throw me under the bus. I'm like, I'm not throwing you under the bus. I'm just stating facts.
I've had realtors throw the lenders under the bus.
Story of our lives.
Story of our lives. Salud. Yes. I even had a real estate agents go to the other room and then yell out, "It's the lender's fault. They're a bunch of BS." And I'm like, dude, I could hear you on the other side of the wall, man. What the hell? I could hear you, but we just don't like to be wrong, and we just like our clients to validate our that we're in a position.
Well, let's start with blame. When something goes wrong, it is tempting to point the finger outward, Martin. But what really happens when we do that?
When we point the finger outward,
Yeah.
if it's when we start pointing the finger outward, we sound like we're not taking responsibility. We're not. We're just not acknowledging that we might have screwed up, or at the same time, even if it's someone else's, um, fault. We don't tend to communicate that with other people, so it just looks bad on us. It just looks like, hey, what's going on your side? If we're blaming someone else, it just doesn't look right on our side.
Why do you think? Why do you think it's easier to blame others instead of taking responsibility?
You just don't want to go the hassle of explaining stuff.
Do you think it's hassle? Or do you think it's from? I would think it's more like shame, right? And that kind of going back to that ego of you don't want to be wrong.
Well, of course, you don't want to be wrong, but it's easier to tell a story. It's easier to just say, hey, this is what happened. Hey, this is what someone else is doing. It's easier just to express a story than it is to go through the explanation of things. So that's why it's so easy for someone that's going to blame someone else, the story to come out just as running water. It's convenient, but at the same time, yes, it's it is shame. It is.
They say get closer to the mic. They can't hear you.
Oh, okay. So yeah, it is a little bit of shame. Um, but it's easy just to blame someone. It's easy just to say, hey, this is a nice little story that I got for you.
Okay.
So it's convenient.
What about? Can you share a time? And it doesn't matter when. It could be from your childhood. I don't care when. That you blamed someone else, and then what happened when you looked inward and actually took that responsibility?
Let me see.
I did say I was gonna put you on the spot.
I know you were gonna put me on the spot.
I totally said
At
this.
least I could have just, got a story or something. So now I'm on the spot. I'm starting to sweat. No, I'm just joking. How I would blame someone else and then how to take the blame.
When have you blamed someone else, and then you obviously have done a lot of work, so you now reflect on a lot of things.
Well, if I reflect, it would be more. I think I tried blaming my processor on a project. At the end of the day, it was my fault. Um, because it's a team. So we're a team. So once I get a loan, once I send it out to my processor, she does her thing. I kind of babysit the process from once I disclose the loan, and she takes it from there, and she takes it to the finish line. So basically, um, there was I can't remember exactly what the project is or what had happened. I totally put the blame on her. At the end of the day, I was wrong, and I had to come back and say, had to tell my clients, you know what, that's my fault for dropping the ball, for saying, hey, we should have got this versus this. I should have communicated that better to my processor, because hey, I train my processor. I expect her to be just as quick as I am, but at the same time, I'm still have to just kind of still move the process along and be in communication with her. If she drops something, I should be there to pick it up. So I did blame it on her, threw her under the bus. At the same time, I had to go back and eat crow, and yeah, and had to come back and apologize, and I apologize to my processor. She's still with me. We work well together, and yeah.
Okay.
We talk on a daily basis. So.
How does blame show up in business, like with business partners, clients, or in leadership for you?
In as far as like business clients, I've seen business partners blame each other if something goes right or wrong. So if everything goes right, everyone is happy. When things go wrong, everyone blames each other. So I've seen it in partnerships. I've seen it in not so much as far as like marriages, because I think in marriages everyone is kind of like on the same page. But I see it when there's miscommunications between partners. Um, Not everyone on the same.
It's like, what marriages are you talking about?
I've seen a couple marriages where like, hey, we're blaming, and then yeah, they're like, no. I'm like, they're like, no, he said this. I'm like, no, they said this. After a while, you just tend to learn to put everyone on an email, so everyone knows everything. Um, but yeah, I've been in couples counseling before. So you know, and I'd had to like stop and tell everyone, hey, you know, this is what's going on. So everyone's blaming each other. The biggest one is always in partnerships where um, just people are not communicating with one another, or silent partners all of a sudden want to be active partners.
Right. That's true. Well, this is a reflection for the audience, right? Is think about a situation in your life today where you are blaming someone else. And what would it look like if you shifted and took one step into responsibility? What would that look like? Right? That's the great reflection for the week. Where are you putting blame? Where are you putting blame in others, in the world, in the government, right? In your significant other, your kids, your mom, your parents.
Yeah, the economy.
The economy, yes. Politics.
No, people not calling you back. Not saying much, but yeah.
But he is.
But I am.
Right? Now let's talk about a little bit about validation, Martin. External validation is when we wait for someone else to approve us before we feel valuable or before we take action. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that.
Okay. And in personal life, it sounds like I'll change jobs once my family agrees, right? Or I'm going to open this business, but only if my wife says it's okay or if everyone else is on board with it. And in business, it's kind of like, oh, I'm going to start recording videos for social media until I feel comfortable or until someone says that it's okay, right? So waiting for approval means you're waiting for permission to live your life. So how has external validation affected your own decisions, Martin?
Well, before I became a loan officer, I was doing credit repair. So I knew about credit repair. Of course, I didn't have my own business until I was comfortable enough with comfortable enough with credit repair. Until I got maybe one or two clients where they were like happy with the situation before I even jumped into it. Same thing with mortgages. I was doing processing for other mortgage officers, and until I felt comfortable doing it, and they validated my processing, I did not jump into it until they were like, "Hey, you should just maybe be a loan officer. You know how to do it. You know how to gather information and do it." So, yeah, getting validation helps out on making that leap, and it's hard for anyone to make that leap until you get validation.
Okay. So would you say now, if you look back, would you have waited for that validation to make those steps? If you hadn't received that validation from the clients or from anyone, do you think you would be here today? In the sense of like business and the career you've chosen?
If I would have, no, I probably would have been doing something else.
Okay.
Just because it's if I never got that validation, you don't get that confidence, and that's where validation helps out is with your confidence of doing things.
So, a question for the audience and for you right now is, why do you think we trust other voices than our own more?
I think just because we are our own self demon from time to time.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Explain.
So explain.
Yeah, explain that a little bit more.
We just don't tell ourselves enough. Hey, you're good enough.
Okay.
We just don't. I don't understand. Um, and some people just are like, I'm just not good enough to do it. But when they hear other people do it on the outside, that makes people feel good. So, growing up, I always try to tell my nieces and nephews they're good. Um, I always tell them good job in everything that they do because they need to hear that outside validation. But as far as humans and as far as ourselves, sometimes we just don't do that ourselves.
To ourselves, right?
To ourselves, yeah. We just don't. We don't. We're our own self demons. So.
What advice would you give the audience today, Martin, for those that are stuck and waiting for approval to do something with their lives, to make that decision, to go to the gym, to eat better, to go on a date, to go ask someone else out, right? To start that business. What advice would you give them if they're waiting on that validation?
No one really cares what you think. I'll tell you. So there's a couple things I would say.
Well, obviously people
Discipline.
care. Why we're here and they're
I
listening
know.
to us.
I know. There's a couple things. So working out. So I work out pretty much on a daily basis, and it's not because of motivation gets you to the starting point, but discipline actually makes you work out on a daily basis. You got to have that time. You got to say, okay, I got Mondays and Tuesdays I could do this time. On Wednesdays and Thursdays I could do this time, and stick to that schedule. It's discipline. Some days I don't feel like working out. Some days my arm is hurting or my shoulder is hurting, and if you work out a lot, your shoulders are always hurting. So, um, I always tell people who are at the gym or who don't want to go to the gym. I had a friend of mine. She goes, I don't want to go to the gym, and I said, why? You go out. I know you need some motivation or you need a discipline. You need your time. And she goes, people are gonna look at me. I'm like, well, yeah, people are there, so of course they're gonna look at you. Where else are they gonna look at you? And he goes, no, they're gonna look at me and they're gonna judge me. I'm like, no, no one really cares that you're there. Everyone's there for a reason. Everyone's there for a different reason. Me, I'm there because back in 2020, when I just did an activity, I could not get out of bed the next day. Now I could jump out of bed. Um, People have a different reason to be there. Maybe they had a heartbreak and they want to pump up and they want to look good. You know.
Yeah.
Some people want to lose weight because the doctor had told them, hey, if you're not going to lose weight, you're 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 going to go into diabetes or something. My cousin has type 2 diabetes. Now he works out, stopped drinking, works out, and got rid of type 2 diabetes without having to
The
take
insulin.
insulin.
Wow.
So everyone has a different reason. Her reason was because she didn't want to go to the gym because people were going to look at her. No one really cares. So if dating, you're never going to see that girl at the club again. Just go say hi. How you doing? Don't be a jerk. Um, Working out, just do it. Get a little motivation. Um, Different things are going to have different motivations. Working out, you, it's going to get you to the starting line. It's going to get you in the gym, but discipline is going to keep you going to the gym. Discipline and putting in that time is going to keep you at the gym. The reason why I say that a lot is because hey, I'm there pretty much every day.
Okay. Nice. How long did it take you to get there without seeking that external validation? Or how long did it take you to see results where people actually started validating the work that you put in?
Oh man, don't even. It probably took about working out. It does take time. It took about a year before someone said, "Hey, you look thinner," and it's people that have not seen you in a while. Um, hey, you look stronger. I remember going to a party and I had my baby Gap shirt, so so someone looked like, hey, you look pretty stout, and I'm not a big person. I'm still quite a bit. I'm still thin like I was before, but I don't have my beer belly anymore. So being a thin guy and in my family, we get beer bellies. We don't get it doesn't distribute well. Doesn't distribute evenly in our family, so we get beer guts. So got rid of my beer gut. I looked a little bit bigger. Yeah, and then people were like, "Huh, you look pretty good." And I've had people just say, "Hey, yeah," and it did take about a year. People are gonna notice that you lost weight. It takes a few months. Um, it takes a while for people to notice things.
What kept you going without that validation for that year until you did get it?
Again, it was I wanted to be mobile in my older age. I wanted to be, um, every time I went and played volleyball, anytime I had any kind of activity, um, the next day I couldn't get out of bed. So my motivation was to, do squats because my knees would hurt. Um, do shoulder presses because my shoulders would hurt. Start doing lower back workouts because my lower back would hurt. I know that in my mind, making my muscles stronger, making my knees a little bit stronger, making parts of my body stronger would alleviate a lot of pain for me. Alleviate me from struggling to get out of bed in the mornings after playing volleyball, or not really struggling to get out of bed, or rolling onto standing up every morning the next day.
That makes
So
sense.
it's and my ongoing motivation was because in my older age I don't want to be taking small steps just to even walk. I want to be mobile as much as possible.
So I'm gonna bring it back to something you said earlier because I want to put you on the spot. And this is what I do.
Again, okay.
And it's just I'm not questioning you, nor it's a challenge as to something that you said, and now you're saying something different, and I think you just portray it in different areas, right? And just food for thought. You said earlier that validation is needed in order for you to do something like get the career, get the job, and if you wouldn't have had the validation, you wouldn't have done it, right? But now, in working out and in your health, that validation came from inside. Nobody pushed you, nobody came and validated you, and you still did it. So what's the difference? What can you pin out the difference? Because it's the same thing, right? But one thing.
No, it's not the same thing.
Okay, explain.
I would disagree as far as it's being the same thing. Everyone's gonna have motivation for something. Everyone's gonna have motivation, an excuse, or a goal. Some goals are going to be needing validation, like when I needed to be a mortgage broker, or I wanted to be a mortgage broker, or be in mortgages. I needed validation that my work was okay. My motivation for working out was because I was hurting every time I did an event. So and doing a little bit of research or whatever, I felt like I needed to get my muscles stronger, so I don't hurt myself, or every day after an event be hurting as far as my knees and stuff. Every situation is going to be different for anyone. I've seen entrepreneurs who just get up in the morning and say, "Hey, I want to create this business." And then I have business owners or other owners and say, "Hey, I want to wait until the market gets better." So everyone is going to have their motivation. Everyone's going to have their validation. Um, I did fix some flips because one of my friends said, "Hey, you could do this," and I knew how to research properties to where I know if we spend this much, we're going to get this much. And by doing that, I help other investors do the same thing. But I had to be validated that I'm working with money. So I had to teach myself, and had some validations from other people to say, hey, yeah, you're on the right track, because I'm dealing with money. So in career, you're dealing with money. That was more of a physical and more of a mental challenge for me as far as like working out, and also doing 5K runs. I just got up and I was validated in, hey, you're working out quite a bit. You're looking pretty good. Why don't you do this? I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I will start doing maybe 5K runs later on. Maybe I'll do a 10K. 10K. I probably will never do a marathon, but hey, you never know. It's just different situations are gonna ask for different pushes.
Okay. No, that's a fair answer. I wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah.
That's very fair. Thank you for sharing.
Oh, no problem.
So, for the audience, right? What decisions have you postponed because you were waiting for someone else to validate it? Um, and then it goes back to what Martin said, right? Are there situations where you think validation is needed in order to proceed, and then there situations where you don't, that you're just gonna proceed no matter what. So then the next one is, after blaming others and waiting for validation, right? What is the alternative? What is the alternative to doing those things? For me, it's called radical responsibility. It's kind of what you said earlier, right? You took radical responsibility. You didn't blame. You didn't excuse. You just said, yes, I messed up. I am sorry. That is radical responsibility. But it doesn't mean you blamed yourself now, right? It doesn't mean, oh, I'm a bad person. I don't do things right. I whatever, right? Because then we kind of go on to the negative side of blaming.
Correct.
Instead of not blaming others, now we blame ourselves, and we still don't fix it.
Correct.
Radical responsibility talks about, I may not control what happens, but I do control how I respond to the situation. That's the difference, right? So Martin, how do you practice radical responsibility in your life and in your business?
Well, gotta stop being that demon inside of yourself. Because like you had just mentioned just right now, sometimes we take blaming ourselves as being negative. I'm not good enough. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. I blame myself. Today I'm just a bad person. So try not to demonize yourself. Do some affirmations um, per day when you wake up, saying that you are good enough, saying that you are, be responsible for what you do. Be the first person up. Um, the first the first person in the first person that wakes up gets the first burrito. You know, so I like breakfast burritos, so that's what I like. Um, so
Where do you get your burritos? your first burrito from?
Hey, Santiago's. You just go to Santiago's. If you're the early bird, we'll get the first burrito at Santiago's. So, just do some affirmations. Go out, and if you're just having a bad day, don't take that bad moment for the rest of the day. If someone tells me, "Hey, how you doing?" I honestly say, "I'm not having a good day, but I'm here. Let's make it the best day after that. Let's finish off strong." Um, when you go to lunch, just go to lunch and just take yourself away from work, and then just come back, and it's gonna be it's gonna be a change in mindset. I did stop eating in front of my desk, and instead, taking my lunch, eating maybe at the restaurant, or maybe eating at a table,
Or in your car.
or in your car, um, with or in your car, yeah,
Or the park.
or the park. Just take away yourself from a situation, enjoy that one moment, and then just come back. So it's just affirmations and taking away from the situation, and just come back and restart, validate yourself again, and move forward from there.
Can you tell me a situation or an example where you actually stopped waiting for validation for something or someone to actually move forward?
It will go back to working out. I'll probably be going back to doing the Spartan race. Um, Back in 2019 or 2018, I did the Spartan race, and I really jacked myself up. I put a 20, was it 20 pound or 30 pound bag on top of my back, and started going downhill, and I stepped on in a hole, jacked up my ankle. I was afraid to go back, and after after a few years, I finally just went back and did it, because I had to get past that fear of messing myself up again, and just doing it. I didn't need no one's validation. No one really knew that I jacked myself up, except for maybe family, because I was hobbling around for a few months. But after a few years, I just kept telling myself I got to go back, and just one day I just was like, "Well, let's just do it. Let's sign up and get her done." Yeah, and it was fun.
So what happened after that you took that ownership? What shifted in your mind?
I think it was just stop blaming myself for what happened and just get over it. I really don't have much of explanation on that. It's just like just go and just do it, basically. Like Nike says, just do it.
Just do
Yeah.
it. Well, some practical tips, like you said, right, that we can do to stop blaming others and waiting for that external validation to move forward with our lives, with our goals, with our dreams, is define success in your own terms, right? What success means to me isn't what success means to you. Some small business owners, some entrepreneurs think that success is money. Some think it's freedom, right? Some think it's not having to work for someone. It just depends on what it means. The other one is take action, even if it's imperfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just do it, like you just said. The other one is do some affirmations. What is? Do you mind sharing the most powerful affirmation that you tell yourself?
The most powerful affirmation. Let me grab my. Let me. There's a couple of them, and it's based on. It's based on failure, and of course I don't want to screw it up, so I am currently looking at my phone because I have these affirmations that I repeat on a daily basis, and one of the affirmations that I got, it was actually from. It was actually just not recently, about a month ago. Two of them based on fear. But the affirmation is fear is a liar, it activates the enemy.
Okay.
And the other one on fear is the acronym for fear, of course, FEAR, is false evidence appearing real. Fear is an illusion. So sometimes, we're scared to do stuff, but at the same time, if what would happen if you actually not scared to do it? What's going to happen? If you're at the club and if you go up to that girl and you're scared to talk to that really pretty girl and but and maybe that night you'll go home and say I should have talked to her. What would happen if you actually did talk to her? Maybe you got blown out of the water. Maybe it was maybe a future relationship. You just don't know.
Yeah, you don't know.
Entrepreneurs, same thing. As far as businesses, what if you didn't take that jump? If you were just scared to not take that leap? For me, if I didn't take that leap as being a mortgage broker, maybe I'll still be working for Chase Bank.
Chase would be lucky to have
Oh, yes, they
you.
would.
One of the last tips, right, is surround yourself with people who encourage you, not people who block you. There's different opinions that we listen to that are positive, and then there's some that are just there to criticize and stop you, right? So it kind of goes back to that validation. Sometimes we seek validation, but the validation that we are receiving is not positive or it's not encouraging. And we have to make sure that we are listening to people that want you to be better. For example, if you have, I'll give you an example of mine. If I'm saying I want to buy a property,
Yeah.
and I go ask my mom, who has never owned property, and this is just an example, and they don't understand why I want to have multiple properties and investment properties because they're like, in our culture, one is good. You just get your house and you pay it off, right? So it's, if I go to someone in our culture, my mom, I'm just saying my mom for this example, that she says, well, why do you want more houses? Why are you not comfortable with just that one? Why do you want more? So then that's not the type of validation that I'm looking for, right? We need to have positive reinforcement. Now, if I go to Martin, who is a property investor, and I say, Martin, I want to have more properties, you're not going to say, oh, no, America, don't have one property. You're going to say, perfect, this is how we do it. This is how we move it, right? So we have to surround ourselves with people who are actually going to encourage our dreams and actually have lived through some of this stuff, right? Some of the stuff that we want to do. A lot of times people talk about getting better and healing, but they give you their opinions, but they're not even on the path, or they're not even doing the work. Yet they're giving you opinions, or they're giving you feedback, or whatever you want to call it. So I myself have taken this very serious, where it's like I don't listen to people that that are not where I want to be, or that are not going through the process as I am.
Correct.
So that's
I would totally agree with that. Totally agree. You got to surround yourself with the people that you want to be doing. So I'm not sure if I said that correctly, but you just want to surround yourself with the people that are aligned with your goals. So um, I've heard from clients they're like, today's economy sucks. There's no reason for me to buy a house. I'm like, it's hard to tell someone that has that kind of mentality that it's good to buy a house now when everyone that they surround themselves with are saying no. They're saying my mom doesn't want me to buy a house, my uncle doesn't want me to buy a house, and yeah, culturally, yeah, their families sometimes are, they're not really negative. They're just trying to look out for you. But at the same time, you do need a
sometimes they're trying to look out for
some.
you. Sometimes they're just trying to block you.
Yeah, sometimes they're trying to block you. But but yeah, you just need to surround yourself with people who are in line with your goals.
Yep. We're gonna close it away with blame feels easy, but it takes away your power. Validation feels safe, but it steals your time. Right? If you would have waited
Correct.
for somebody to tell you, yes, Martin, go get healthy, you would have not gotten healthy.
Correct.
So true growth comes from when we stop pointing outward and we start listening inward. Um, but here's the difference: we gotta learn to listen to that inner voice and not the ego, because we have two voices. Did you know that?
No.
So you have, let's call it like, I want to picture it for you. It's like you have the little demon and the little angel.
Correct.
Right?
Okay.
The ego is the demon in a sense, right? The ego tries to protect you, to keep you safe, comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
It wants to stay comfortable, complacent, and it doesn't want to for you to be exposed and make yourself a fool. So when you're out here waiting for validation, it's because the ego is saying, what if I'm not good enough to be a mortgage broker? I need someone else to come tell me that I'm good enough, so that I could, now my ego feels safe in saying that I'm going to be a mortgage broker. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Whereas the other side is like, who cares? Let's go for it. Like you just
Yeah.
said, you just contradicted with your affirmations here right now. In the sense of like your
it's
angels,
all situational.
like, oh, sure.
That's my excuse, but I think everything's situational.
So then it goes
It's a
back to that, right?
process.
It's like you gotta listen. You gotta learn to listen to that inner voice that actually wants to see you grow, see you change, see you be happy, see you free. Your ego doesn't want change. Your ego is comfortable. Your ego says, they're gonna look at me in the gym. They're gonna judge me. I'm fat. I'm not good enough, right? Oh, you're gonna get laughed at. You don't know how to work out.
That's true.
So these are all, we do have these inner voices. You gotta be careful what you're listening to. You gotta learn how to separate those two voices, right? Because, like you said, it's that ego and it's not bad, but
No.
it's there to protect us. It's there to protect us. So when we're gonna take responsibility and take that next step, try it without someone else's approval, right? If you're gonna start eating healthy and you're waiting for your spouse to eat healthy with you, don't wait. Go buy the stuff. Go cook for yourself, right? It is what it is. Go walk. Go work out by yourself. Don't wait for your friends to go work out with you. Like we do that
Correct.
sometimes.
Yeah.
I want to go on a hike. Oh, I need to wait for someone to go with me. Otherwise, I'm not gonna do it.
I do have a friend that needs me to go work out with her.
Otherwise, you won't go do it.
Or else she won't go do it.
And that's okay, because it's
And
gonna
that's
take
fine.
time, right? But at some point, she has to take that radical responsibility and say,
Correct.
I'm doing this for me, not for Martin.
Correct. And I
Well,
encourage
yeah.
it.
You're encouraged, friend.
Go fly my
Fly,
birdie.
little birdie. Well, Martin, thank you for sharing today. I appreciate it. Any last words you want to share with the audience today? Any tidbits?
No tidbits. Just
Go eat some crow, he
go
said.
eat some crow. Yeah, go eat some crow, because at the same time I believe we're all in the same level. And once you eat some crow, it's just gonna make life easier, actually.
My old mentor used to say, what's the saying with the frog? Eat the frog? Is that the one?
I have no idea.
You've never heard it?
I think I've heard it, but
It's just kind of just do the hard thing. Just do
yeah,
it.
just do the hard thing.
Just jump.
Cause then after that, everything else is a lot easier.
Yeah. Once you start getting into it, I literally have on my phone a wallpaper that says F it. and I put it on there to remind myself that I don't stop for validation. I'm just like F it. Whatever it looks like,
Yeah.
F it.
I'm not perfect. Eat some crow and move on.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, remember everyone, thank you for joining us with Success Without Borders today. When you stop looking outside and you start looking inside, changes happen. Thank you for joining us again, and thank you Henry and KUHS Denver for hosting us, and we will see you next week.
Thank you.